Well, since we are reviewing cartoons now, why don't we also review a few video games? And we'll start with what my employers played the most, so I kinda didn't have much of a choice other than to watch it. Card Hunter. Card Hunter is a role-playing game that desperately wants to look like a card game, even if the only thing that this game has in common with them is, well, cards. The plot is about you and a bunch of other idiots playing a local Dungeons & Dragons ripoff with a story straight from the 80s movies about nerds. Here's your shy Four Eyes, here's your rude Four Eyes, here's a female that one of these Four Eyes wants to fuck like a cheap slut but thinks that she deserves better than him. You know, the usual banal stuff, but it serves its purpose. At least I was entertained by their interactions with each other, albeit for entirely different reasons. The gameplay here is also relatively simple. You have a team of 3 characters, healer, warrior, and a mage, and traveling from one dungeon to another, you kill monsters, get loot, equip loot, and overall feel awesome while doing so. And this would be the end of my review if my employer hadn't decided to give me my hands back so I can play with them. And so instead of a normal game, we had the adventures of an insane dwarf warrior Dodongo and the elven mage Kururkur that was expelled from her magical university for drowning it in lava! And here you'll probably ask me, but Auntie, isn't this game meant to be played with 3 characters? To which I say that's if you play single player, and 3 characters are for fucking pussies anyway, any retard can do that! But I digress. The path of Dodongo and Kururkur was a long and tedious one, for your items decide your in-game skills that drop as cards in your deck every turn, and since the great broken Chinese number generator is responsible for giving you cards, not once our heroes suffered a terrible defeat because the fucking game didn't give us the needed cards, or gave them but when they were unnecessary. Meanwhile, the enemies were always supplied with every card ever. Thankfully, our heroes found the perfect victory tactic of pulling as much armor on Dodongo as one can, entrench in a corner, and let those fuckers try to smoke us out of it. I call this tactic Stalingrad. Somewhere in the middle of the game, Dodongo had 2 sets of items that allowed him to transform from a bunch of walking armor into a fast assault trooper. Meanwhile, Kururkur at first tried to be a regular arcane mage, and then she turned into Thor and thunderclapped her way through everyone, as well as throwing lava under the enemies when they were tired of beating Dodongo. But soon our game master got tired from all the cancer we've done, and so he decided to throw more serious enemies at us, namely the fucks that throw acorns of death and troglodytes with spears on plain field without any cover. And it would appear that this is the end for our hero's glorious adventures, but suddenly Dodongo found himself a set of super heavy armor and a helmet that turned all received damage into additional attacks. And from that point on, Dodongo became immortal, and Kururkur started to teleport around the map and throw super lightnings. When the cards were right. And although our GM tried his very best, Dodongo and Kururkur killed all enemies and forced Gary to finally fuck that woman, after which they decided to take a small break because the next dungeon had 20 levels or so and they thought, nah, fuck that shit. Overall, the game is pretty entertaining, and if you like tactical strategies and you don't mind that it's emulating the style of a tabletop RPG, then I suggest you go play it. I should note though that there is only 3 classes in the game, all can be easily customized to kill even the toughest enemies in the game without any problems, and only 3 races, which to me is a very small number. We're playing a tabletop here, god damn it, I want something more than just elves, dwarves, humans. Besides that, many people probably won't like that even though the game says it's a card game, it's less Hearthstone and more commandos. And therefore you have to actually think, otherwise the AI will use you like PewDiePie used American journalists.
The coconut nut is a giant nut. If you eat too much, you get very fat. Now, the coconut nut is a big, big nut, but this delicious nut is not a nut.